Welcome back, everyone, to episode 2 of Small Moments, Big Impact. You are here today with Lily and Brent, and we are stoked to be back for our second episode.
We are stoked to be back. We were meant to be back last week, but I was
Were.
sick as a dog. So unfortunately,
So, did you know what it was in the end?
we had influenza A go through our family.
Oh,
So it wasn't just the old, you start to get a bit of a sniffle, and then a few hours later, when you start to get the feeling of like, nah, this is bad. This doesn't feel right. And then for someone who's normally quite up and about and active, to spend 3 days just in bed practically with no energy, no appetite, nothing. It took a bit out of me, but back firing on all cylinders now, which is good.
amazing. Because I think in all the years I've known you so far, that's the second time you've ever been unwell. That's it. You don't get unwell. So, I'm glad
Generally
you're
not.
feeling through.
No, the kids were like a little bit sick before Kai and I
Mhm.
before it hit us. So whether they passed it, I'm not too sure. But that's just it's part of the grind, isn't it? There's a
Gotta love the school
fam-
germs. Gotta love
yeah,
the school germs. Oh my gosh. So, I have a bit of an update for you.
go.
When we signed off our first podcast, you gave me the challenge of the
Oh
marshmallow.
yes, go on.
So, first attempt, unsuccessful
They
because
said
they had
no,
no
or
marshmallows. She goes, "We
oh,
don't have marshmallows." And I
that
said,
doesn't count. Then that's okay.
"So does that not count?" Okay. So then second time, we went and had a coffee. I got a coffee with my oldest, with Layla,
Uh huh.
and she wanted a hot chocolate. So then I said to her, because she had the hot chocolate, I was like,
Uh
"I
huh.
have a challenge for you."
Uh huh.
And she said, "Okay, what is it?" I said, "I would." So I'd already ordered and paid. So now we're just waiting
Hmm.
for our coffee and our hot chocolate. And I said to her, "I would like you to ask the lady to give you a marshmallow." And she goes, "I don't want a marshmallow." I said, "But I would like a marshmallow. I would appreciate." I said, "It will build your skills to be brave enough to ask for something that you didn't expect to get." And she went up and she asked and she got one. And the lady was lovely. The lady was like, "Absolutely, let me get that for you." And then she was buzzing the rest of the day. She was so proud.
That's so good.
It was awesome. It was really
There's a
good.
few
So
little like there's a few
challenge
little
accomplished.
teaching yeah, a few little teaching moments in there, like to step outside your comfort zone, which what people might not feel comfortable with. To like, are we okay to get this? Are we okay to
Totally.
ask? I think even like what you said, like the response from like the lady at the cafe who gave the marshmallow, people love it. You'd be surprised how wonderful and nice people are.
Wonderful. And then what I took away from that as well, that I said to her and I shared with her, I said, "See, you didn't want the marshmallow," which is fair enough because I ate it anyway. She gave it to me. I said, "But look how great you felt at being able
Hmm.
to accomplish that." And she was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, yeah, I do." And she was buzzing for the rest of the day. Everything was very positive. She was very happy. So it was a great little challenge.
That's awesome. I've actually got another little like little small moment to share with you. Um, prior to me being sick, the kids were both, um, a little bit of a cough, not too bad, but just weren't quite at 100%. But they had their last swim meet for a little while that they'd already pre-registered and whatever. And so we went, and they're probably both at like maybe 80, 90%. And it was just like, hey guys, just today, do the best you can. Whatever happens, happens. Don't worry about results, whatever. You just get in there and do the best you can. Of the 7 races they competed in between them, 6 of those they got PBs,
Wow.
which just blew my mind. Like, did not expect such strong performances. It was crazy. And then so like on the day, it's just full of love and praise and not really sort of going too deep or anything. And then later on that night, pulled them both aside separately, mind you, not together, but pulled them both those separately and sort of like discussed about how they were feeling beforehand and said that, the results that you did today, like your own personal time and you being a little bit sick, you can now take that, bank it in your pocket, knowing that even if you don't feel 100%, even if you feel a little bit off, you've still got an amazing performance in you. And that could be at school in a test, it could be at swimming, it could be at home. But you now know for sure that you don't need to feel
I did.
100% to give an amazing performance and to be your best. You now know that. So take that and run with it.
That's wonderful. And I think it's good for kids. It builds the resilience because otherwise they won't do things unless they're feeling a certain way mentally or physically, which let's face it, we just got to keep pushing through and showing up regardless of how we're feeling.
Got to keep pushing through and showing up. So, Speaking of showing up, we have an amazing first guest
We do.
coming up shortly.
Mhm.
Someone who's a good dear friend of mine, who's agreed to come on as our first guest. He is a multiple business owner with a family of four and a wife. So he's going to share with us his journey about his family and his business. Are we ready to roll?
We're ready to roll. Let's go.
All right, let's bring him in.
Let's do it.
So we're now very likely to be joined by a longtime friend of mine, a really good friend who's close to my heart, former AFL listed umpire, which is where we,
Oh,
not on the AFL list, but like back at umpiring. We'll talk more about that later on. Former AFL listed umpire, husband to Carly, father to Alfie, Forest, Navy, and Valley, owner of the Proposal Guru and Unforgettable Proposals, but perhaps most amazing of all, winner of the best costume to a party ever when he dressed up full scale face paint suit and came as the mask to my 30th birthday party
Smoking.
a little over 10 years ago. So please welcome to the pod our very first guest, Aaron Hall.
welcome,
Thank you for having
Aaron.
us. Thank you.
Now,
So nice to
before
be.
we go any further, do we have a photo of the costume?
We will. We will. I will put that in in
Please,
the show
Aaron.
notes, as they say, or we'll edit that in. We'll have to find one, won't we?
It was
That
an
would be
era of costume parties, wasn't it? It was
yeah.
it was a lot of fun.
It was
Wow,
really,
that's
yeah, it was.
commitment. I love that.
Now, Hawley and Aaron, we're speaking about this before. Like we're very good mates. We'll interchange between Aaron and Hawley. Um, we've spoken about this once before, but I can remember the exact moment we ever like. I'm going to say I even saw you. That part rings more true in my mind. And so we would have been maybe like 15, 16, something like that. We've both come up as junior AFL umpires. Hawley was on base on the Gold Coast, and then he came up to Brisbane for a training session. And Lily, this won't surprise you at all, but I was a bit of the cocky, egotistic, pretty
What?
full of myself, sort of like, umpire. And I remember seeing Aaron, this big blonde bombshell, just bound across the field in umpiring. I'm like, who is this guy? He means business. And I was intimidated and nervous. I'm like, who is this guy? And we would have been 15, 16. And so that was, 25 odd years ago now.
So Kiwi's very kind. What we're talking about is a real tall, lanky 16-year-old, if you know what I mean. So he's incredibly kind, but amazing experience growing up through football. You get tested and pressured under these circumstances,
Mm,
and you're experiencing it together and growing up. So met Brent, and he is super confident. And wow, this guy is driving the purple Batmobile at the time. It was the
Yep.
most incredible car we've ever seen. It's just been a pleasure to grow alongside. Great man like Brent.
I
And
love
some
that. What a
friends,
great friendship.
yeah, well, look, Lily, like as you know, like some friends, you grow and move on to different
Mhm.
spaces and paths and so on, and then others you just stick through thick and thin. And so, Aaron, his family, my family is still very close. We catch up often, and yeah, it's an honor to have him as a friend. But Aaron, give us a snapshot. Who are you? What's your life on a day to day basis? You've got a lot going on.
We do. Look, we've well, I think to start with, like every family and parent has a lot going on, so completely. I do think we're on the busier side of things. It's definitely not a competition, but so we have a family of four. We've got four boys. I think, yeah, really realistically under four boys in 5 years essentially. So
Wow.
Carly wanted half a football team, so we thought let's have a crack. And yeah, it comes from a place that we know that these boys are growing, and our family means the most to us, and we thought, let's just really lean in. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. One of our children is neurodiverse. He has autism, so that has been a really big learning curve. Something like this is just not on your radar, and then it
Mhm.
is, and then you need to learn everything there is to learn about it. Um, far from that, we obviously run our own businesses, so we made the jump to go be self-employed, and it's been the best thing. It's been the hardest thing, and I guess everything in between.
Wow. If I can ask a question, how much do you think of having both of you guys, this is probably a question for both of you just in different ways, having the background of football, having the structure, having the processes, all those things, how have they transferred when you have been blindsided with something like neurodiversity? Aaron, I know exactly what you mean by that. How does that apply? Because I feel like sport, in a way, conditions you to systemize to a process to then look for the outcome. How much does that help when you are faced with something you didn't expect?
I'll jump in. I think my theory with sport is that there's a ceiling. It's your perceived ceiling, and then
Mm,
you, oh, can I do this? And I can't do it. And there's negative self doubt, and you push that ceiling up and up and up. Same thing with family. Same thing with business, and you're continually pushing this ceiling your perceived what your ability or what your bounds
mhm.
are. And sport helps me understand that as we're growing up, and then into coaching, and then into business, that you feel like your ceiling's here, and you just keep pushing it up and up and up.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely feel that because in business, it doesn't matter how amazing someone is, everyone is winning it. My business
Yes.
partner said this to me the other day. Everyone in the world, regardless of how polished they look,
Mhm.
regardless of what they're saying on the Instagram ads or their podcasts, everyone's winging it. So
Yeah.
I think when we have that confidence just to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, regardless of what you perceive your abilities to be, that was definitely in sport. And you could just see that
Mhm.
when you're coaching, you see them pushing and you see those moments where they actually push through that barrier. And you're like, wow, you got there. And
Yeah.
I see that with our family, and I also see that with business as well.
To
Yeah.
add to that as well, Lily, I think particularly with umpiring, whether it's AFL, whether you're a rugby league ref, whatever it is, particularly when
Mhm.
you're refereeing or umpiring at a high level, and you're essentially semi-professional. So Aaron and I did a bit of trivia, the exact same amount of Queensland level games at 110 at the very top.
Yeah.
Aaron went on a step or two further than I, but I think umpire in particular teaches you to be calm under pressure, and
Mhm.
so I think players have an emotional outlet where they can high five or they can yell, they can scream, they can let all this emotion out. But as an umpire or as an official, your job is to stay as
Yeah.
calm, as cool as calm as possible. And that's one of the big things that I teach my kids all the time. They will tell you that dad's notorious for saying, stay cool and calm. And I think
Yeah.
in a business world and a family world, when chaos is going on all around you, I think having 10 years plus of
Mhm.
umpiring experience, of being taught in the moment, whether there's could be a fight on the field, it could be really close, it could be a controversial decision, but to stay really calm and present is what gets the best out of you in the moment, whether it be on the field in sport, business, family, whatever it is.
That's really well said. Because me, as a die-hard passionate supporter of AFL, um, what I guess I've never thought about umpiring like that, because you kinda just look at them, they always look so calm, and I take that as he's so confident in what he's doing. But it's interesting to know that the umpire's probably himself thinking, "Wow, I'm just really gonna have to deliver this, follow it through, and then just kinda keep going." So that's amazing. That's really great to know, and I think that's important to share, from your guys' point of view.
Paulie, do you have any like moments from footy or umpiring that you look back now that you think helps you in particular with family or business? It might be like a coach that we had, like any sayings, or maybe it's doing, you know, effort after effort on the back oval at Cooperoo when you hit the back straight and you hit all that like that bat shit smell and you're working really hard. But do you have any memories that you look back on now that you think have served you really well?
For reference, for everyone playing at home, we used to train on a ground called Cooperoo, and the very back part had a lot of forests and bats. And so you'd be doing these
Oh,
laps and efforts of 400s, whatever it might be, but you really had to hold your breath for a section of the field because it was not ideal. Um, I think the thing that got rammed into me through senior football, and just for full credit and transparency, I made to AFL rookie, and some of our other friends have obviously made it onto the higher levels, just for full transparency. But I think the ability to put it all out in the field and leave nothing on the in the gas tank for that one quarter,
mhm.
recover, and then go hard again. I think a lot of people, and I did that philosophy with our events, and really get our staff on the same page. We're going flat out. We're going to go our hardest from the
Mm,
start. We're not saving anything in the tank because I think that's when you get the most out of you, and you're pushing the limits again. And so
mhm.
that was the biggest thing, when you learn the ability to not leave anything in reserve. And I think that translates into a lot of really just putting yourself out there in a different way of saying, but that's probably my biggest takeaway that I think.
I
Yeah,
love that.
cool.
So good.
You mentioned events before. We've probably been glossed over a little bit. Like, what is the proposal guru and unforgettable proposals? Like,
I love
what
this.
Yeah, what's your product and service? What are people buying?
Yeah, we help people propose to their partner. So we are relevant for this long in someone's lifespan, but essentially someone wakes up and they want to propose to their partner. You don't get married. So we're for people who want to make their partner wants to person wants to make their partner feel really special. And who
Mhm.
doesn't in that stage of a relationship? So what we help them do is find an amazing place, amazing venues. We make it look pretty. So romantic styling, we help capture the moment. We bring together suppliers. So if you think about a wedding, just think
Mhm.
about just before then. Just all those people combined into one. We make it pretty. We capture great moments. So yeah.
That is
Go
so
mate,
special. You were
go
like forever
deeper.
in someone's stories, right? Because like every proposal, whether the relationship continues lifelong or not, you always remember those moments. And you're such, yes, you might be a small part, but you're such an impactful and long lasting part.
Yeah.
I've been
I don't
lucky to
mean to
be there
gloss over
for
it.
I've
Yeah.
been lucky to be there for probably a dozen or so of the
Wow.
proposals that you've done. Talk us, like, for example, that one that I helped sort of bump in and bump out at the penthouse on the Gold Coast. Give Lily the
Wow.
picture. It's not just an event. Oh, we don't just set up a few little things. How many rose petals are there? How many candles? What's
Yes.
it look like? Take us inside.
I'm
Yeah.
visual, so that really helps me.
Makes sense. We do small proposals. We do what we think are the biggest in the world. So we can go up to 1,000 candles. So the one Brent's talking about, people perceive that you rock up to like just like a wedding style. Some things are all pretty, you saunter in. No, we are bumping in through back of house, through the loading docks. It is hot and it is sweaty. You're going up
Mhm.
service elevators multiple times. You're bumping trolleys in. There's boxes everywhere. It is horribly messy. But then we make it pretty. So we're using big arbors and plinths and candles and petals and yeah, the average proposal, I'd use a couple of hundred candles, and then when we get really excited, we're going five to six to up north to 1,000 candles. So so I think just to share a moment, I guess on my 30th birthday, Carly, my wife surprised us with skydiving, and you're doing
Mhm.
the skydiving thing and floating back down to earth. I was talking, I don't know if it was before or after, talking to the person, and he's like, "Yeah, I just love being with people on the best day of their lives." And in that moment of euphoria, you're like, "Wow, this is unbelievable." I think that really comes back home to me. Our business, are we changing? Are we saving the lives or anything? We're not. But we're just making people happy, and we're celebrating people
Mhm.
in that moment of their life. People just want to be celebrated, and this is everyone universally. It just wants to be
Yeah.
celebrated. So what we do is we help them with their partner, make them feel really special. And then we celebrate them and we pump them up, and then they kick on and they get married and do their things. But yeah, we love that space because it is so positive and beautiful. And on the business side of things, it's incredibly challenging in a really good way. We're continually challenged to do new things. And yeah, it's a big challenge.
So my question is, as a woman, how do you store 1,000 candles? Where do you store
It
1,000
used to be in
candles?
our garage. It used to be in our garage. It felt like a whore. You walk in the garage, you had that feeling of, oh my gosh. So then we got a storage unit. So yes, they're all
Yeah,
stored in storage units. We roll it up, we leave it. We're all done. But yes, everything was very disorganized. Now it's color code. It's all got its location bays, and yes, we have pretty good systems now. But
that is
yeah, it's
amazing.
obviously
I
grown
love that.
along.
And so
We
you do
started off in a Toyota
proposals.
Camry.
You've got, I think maybe like Southeast Queensland is like the home, like from the sunny coast to the Gold Coast and so on. But you do Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. You go all the way up the East Coast. You've got like, Unforgettable goes multiple states, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were always just an owner operator. We actually then bought our competitor. We learned from systems, and so having bought that, now we're in Sydney and Melbourne. We're now in the process for the last couple of years now franchising, which has just been this another beautiful challenge to get around. And we've just launched in Adelaide, and we're talking to different potential buyers. And yeah, our scope is national. So how that conveys is this beautiful challenge for us. But yes, at the moment, and we actually last night had our first Adelaide sale. It's very exciting. So
Well,
now
Hey,
we're
congratulations.
scrambling.
congrats.
So our Adelaide partners are really pumped. And now, yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
we're very excited.
that is so great. Have you ever had someone say no?
Good question. Most popular question, to be completely honest. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
a success metric,
it has
but
gone effort.
yeah. Long story short, no. Like you bring the yes.
Yes.
Yes, sometimes you have people that have been together 3 or 4 months, and you're like,
Mm.
you're not saying this, but you're thinking, wow, that's good on you. Like that's really, 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 really fast and progressive for them. But I think the thing with proposing is there's no benchmarking. You know, we've
Mhm.
got students proposing with small ones, we've got big ones. Everyone's got their own story, and everyone either wants
Sure.
to pump up their story or talk their story down. And I think their story is based around how they love their partner,
Mhm.
and so yeah, you bring the yes, but they look and feel very different because they're obviously those beautiful moments.
What's a real positive? Like you'd seen some amazing things. What really fires you up about your work that you do?
I think it's the pursuit of the next challenge in a way. Like it's every time we're doing something, we're battling conditions. Like it's not like off a neat playing field. We go to a rooftop. Yes, we're battling 40 to 60-kilometer winds. And one of our biggest challenges is apart from making it look pretty and all going well, that needs to stand up during the proposal and the event. So we've got outdoor events with rain. We've got all these different conditional elements. How we create a surprise. So um, for me, even from a sporting background, I reference with our business partner sport all the time. And
Yeah.
it's that pursuit of excellence, and there's never perfection, but how do we get closer and closer? And when we're in a photo shoot, the afternoon light, the golden hour they talk about is
Mhm.
such a small point in time. And you're trying to get person because they're looking for these moments and they know they want those photos in the end, but in the moment they're caught up and they're in love and they're excited, they're celebrating. But for me, it's that challenge for let's get those special moments and how good can that be? We're tweaking the variables. So yeah, not to sound too technical. In the moments, there's a lot of emotion there.
Mhm.
Honestly, when I'm capturing, taking photos, it's all performance orientated. It's not until afterwards you go, oh, that went amazing, and you self
Yeah.
reflect. So it's all performance orientated till then. But that is like every single wedding photographer in the world. So nothing unique there.
How amazing. So then you set up the proposal and, when as it's happening, you also capture the moment, so they're not having to worry about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
We have this philosophy called Hero's Journey, and in business,
mhm,
it's Story Brand. So go and check it out if you haven't done so already. But it's definitely about we're the mentor and the guide. We're helping the client through. They're the hero on the day. So we're capturing
oh,
everything as opposed to this philosophy, and that helps us, I think, be client centric. Yeah,
mhm.
I really believe in it. So yes,
And
Oh,
so to move back towards on the home front now, and I say this unashamedly, you are one of the most dedicated parents I know. And you'll speak to Hawley about what are you doing? Oh, this weekend we're going to Byron for or we're going to here with the boys, or we've gone
mhm,
to this with the boys, and we're going to show them this, and Alfie's learning to surf. And it's like even I go, I'm like, how's he doing this? Because you've got such an intense, labor intensive business, and
mhm.
then you and Carly's parents are so dedicated and want the absolute best for your boys to give them experiences, as much as possible. How do you juggle the two? Like, what does that look like for you on a family front?
it's really kind of you to say. Long story short, genuinely difficultly. So definitely no easy wins there. I guess a couple of things I really believe in is balance.
Mhm,
And when I focus too much on the business, I know our family life struggles. And then when our family, whether doing the fun stuff or
mhm,
managing the real difficult stuff, is out of balance, then work suffers. So that's one big philosophy. And there's so many other sides that just genuinely struggle. Relationships, friendships, self care.
mhm,
All these things suffer, but I think for us, that's the priority. But probably the other thing that we really know, like another big feeling that I have is that I heard it on a podcast. You've only got, really the number of summers with your children you can count on your hands.
mhm,
So the fact is, now's the time not to wait till we're late to go spend time with them. We need to figure out if things are going to be okay in the end, money wise. Let's reverse that to now and think, how can I spend time and do the things I want to be doing now rather than, waking up later and thinking I missed that opportunity. So it's a juggling act and it's a balance and it's genuinely challenging. But yeah, we try to keep pivoting and doing these little I think how do we balance work and family? And how do we also prioritize one-on-one time with our children between the four of them? It's just so challenging. But it could be the small things, be the big things. But we keep saying to ourselves, our 3-year-old, all he wants to do is go to the park. That will literally take 20 minutes. They will not take long. How do we
mhm.
go and have these little touch points with them? Because they're, I think, the magical moments that we will cherish in the long run.
Oh, that is so beautiful, and that is
And
really special.
Lily might be able to like help talk through this better than I. But talk to us about like your journey with Alfie, who's neurodivergent, and sort of like the learnings and the process you've had along, with him
Yeah.
and the boys.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start by talking about this that no one teaches you how to talk about with your child with
Mhm.
autism in a public forum. So I self reflected on this and I was thinking, realistically, when we came into this journey, you had no idea what this was about. Something's completely off your radar and then it's your entire world.
Mhm.
So the only way, I guess, if anyone's ever listening to this and they're in the same position is to be open and honest. But I don't know how to speak about this, what's right and what's wrong. So forgive me in advance. Um, it's something with neurodivergence and autism that you don't realize that it's creeping up on you. You get that feeling that things are slightly different, and that's just our perception. Things are growing or going in a different way than they should be. And our little man, he just sees and feels the world incredibly differently. It's like a different language that
Mhm.
as a parent, you have all these visions about what you're going to be and how you're going to grow them and mold them into them. And then you realize, no, 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 it's not about me molding anybody. It's about me learning who
Mhm.
they are. Then you realize neurodivergence and you're learning a language with autism. This is my experience.
Mhm.
And then the other side of the convo, which is your child, is now speaking in a different language.
Mhm.
You didn't know the language has changed or the playbook changed. And it is this complete moving target, which is hard to understand. But I'm so grateful that we have been through therapists and NDIS and all these things, put some people around us to teach us because at the
Mhm.
start of the journey, we had no idea what we're doing and it's still a moving target and we stuff it up regularly. But there's definitely golden moments when we say, wow, we actually nailed that right there. And I'm really, really pumped with it because I didn't know this 12 months ago, but now I do. Um, so yes, it's a hard moving target, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that, Aaron, for sure. I was in the same boat, when I was pregnant, with my son, I was told he was a girl till I was 36 weeks. So I went on a scan and I walked in the scan and the lady goes, "Oh, are we finding out the sex of the baby?" And I said, "Oh, we know we're having another girl." And she was like, "Okay." And she put the ultrasound on my belly and she laughed. And she was like, "See this? Not another girl." And I was like, "Oh my God." So my thing was immediately footy and cricket. It's the two thing and tennis. It's, like really the three things that I've grown up with that I love, that I'm so passionate about. Footy's so community based in my family. Where I grew up, it was incredible. But that became such a pivotal early development for me that I then carried into the unknown of autism because when I first came here, I couldn't speak English. I could speak other languages, but I couldn't speak English. So I would go to footy and I would just know if it goes between the two big poles and everyone was cheering, I'm
Mm.
cheering and that's my team. And for those moments, it didn't matter that I couldn't understand conversations, that I couldn't connect verbally. And then when Liam was diagnosed, like you said, I just kind of thought, oh, he's not talking, but my daughter talks a lot. So there's so many factors that autism was the furthest from my brain. But then when he was non-speaking for so long and not able to communicate, I kept putting myself back into that moment of being at the footy, you know, being with people that I couldn't understand what they were saying, yet I could follow their body language. I could see how they were responding and stuff like that. So that is then how I learned his language, again, like from scratch, and followed his way through becoming, educated in, I suppose behavioral gestures, because 80% of communication is non-speaking, it's non-verbal. So, and I think that's why I love food even more. And, but I get it when you say, it's not what you think about, it's not what you dream about. I was like, he's going to play footy and he's going to play cricket. And this is what, I'm going to look, what our schedules are going to look like, blah, blah. And then at 2 years old, it was like, absolutely not. This is what needs to happen to support him. So, I completely understand that. And I think you're really brave to share it because I still don't even really know how to talk about it because, like yourself, probably, the goalpost keeps moving. They develop this amazing skill and boom, we're on to the next. And then you're having to learn that next structure and sequence or skill set that we're trying to build. So it's never really, yes, we've supported the skill set development. He's got it. We've got it. We're going. It's like, okay, we've done this tick. What's next kind of thing. So I think you explained it beautifully. I really do.
I think it sort of taps into a little bit what you're saying then. you're learning these playbooks, and then from our perspective, they're our parenting cues. Oh,
Mhm.
okay, this child wants to climb. Alfie spent about 6 months on my shoulders. Like at one point in time, he was just. I dropped him once. It was the worst. But anyway, like he's just on my shoulders. I'm like, let's go rock climbing. So the little guy, he now loves rock climbing. And we take him surfing and do different things. We try to do that with our different children. But the second point you make then is it's actually hard as a parent because all parents have it hard, and I think we all just
Mhm.
have different playbooks. But in one point, you have these beautiful moments where they're in balance, and that's a
Mhm.
true them. And yesterday, took little man Carly had an appointment, had to take the kids. Alfie and I went over. We bought a drawing book, and we spent half an hour just doing these drawings and amazing things. Another day when he's deregulated, kicking, biting,
Mhm.
holes in walls, literally like there's things which are probably difficult to share online, but it's things that I don't perceive that a lot of parents
Mhm.
have. There's a physicality and then 30 minutes later, there's realizations when um, that moments have calmed down and your
Mhm.
child's now distraught about what that's happened. And
Mhm.
that's a roller coaster of how are
Yeah.
you doing this most of the time when you're not in balance because you're emotionally heightened, and how do I force composure like Brett was
Mhm.
talking about before? Right
Yeah.
now in my mind, I know I need to force composure,
Mhm.
but there's things which are going against my personal code of what's okay and not okay. Then as a
Mhm.
dad, where are you then going to set the line about what is okay in our family and what is not okay, but you need to put that on pause for the moment because this is not a teaching moment because no one's taking it in. It is
Yes.
completely hard to measure. And the whole time you're tinkering, and there's a large majority of the time you're offline as an adult. You're trying to get yourself back online.
Sure,
So
because 'cause you're having to
yeah, I
regulate
think
in order to support and manage him. For me, the challenge was having 3 different children. I've got 3 beautiful kids, but all are so different. So the way that I would communicate and initiate a conversation or a request for help with my oldest, who's got autism, and she's also diagnosed with a subcategory which is comfortable for me to talk about. It's called PDA, pathological demand avoidance. So her brain is wired to perceive things as a threat. So it could be simple things like, I need you to come and help me with the dishes. If I don't ask that in a context to make her nervous system feel safe in receiving that request, we get the big responses, like the throwing of things, the screaming and all that kind of stuff. And then I've got Liam in the middle, and Liam just needs a direct instruction. He's just like, "Just tell me what you need me to do. I'm gonna get it done so then I can go and do what I wanna do," which the majority of the time is Legos. He's obsessed with Legos and logos. And then my youngest one, I have to encourage to do her chores and things like that through praise. So I completely get it because 'cause you're having to regulate yourself. You're having to figure out what's triggered it so you can either remove that trigger or figure out how you're going to move past the trigger, and then you have to help them. And then once it's all over, then it's like, "Okay, so what are we gonna do next time?" So it's a huge roller coaster of things, and I think it's important to talk about. Brent and I always say that, like, all parents, regardless of how your household is, it's hard. It's relative to you. So if anybody can take a little bit away from kind of what we talk about, I think is really important and special. But it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Mate, thanks for sharing and being so vulnerable about that. And one thing I admire with you and Carly is that you do what you want to do, and
Mm,
you've been that way like from the very get go. Before you had your first, is like we wanted to have four kids, and that's you do what you want to do. And there's so many people that it'd be in the majority who are living some sort of fake life. There's some sort of mask or think that they're trying to be something for somebody or what they think they should be. You just do you. You are so authentic and sometimes to your own detriment, but it's like I have such admiration for you on your path of just like, and this is come what may, this is what we want to do.
mhm.
And you're a shining light like to me and my family. And to be able to share those sorts of honest thoughts is, I think, incredible. So yeah, I really
And
appreciate
I
it.
think it's really brave because in my experience, a lot of us mums will get together and we'll share those vulnerable thoughts and have that safe space. But for dads, it's really hard because of how they perceive their position in the family. So I think it's so brave to come out, because you're going to pave the way for a lot of dads that kind of go, I don't know what to do. But now it's okay to say it because other men are saying it. So I now no longer feel alone. I feel brave enough to say, I have no idea, but if we work together, we'll figure it out. I think that's, from a woman's point of view, I think that's really important and beautiful to see.
I think, Lily, you raise a really interesting point with gender, as you know, my wife and and
Mhm.
I completely acknowledge what you're saying. Another point in addition to that, I think, is this perception, as a male, I think in the community, slightly low expectations, if I may possibly. For example, I will take the kids out. We've got one-year-old who's a baby, but I'll take the three kids out to the shops to go for things. We'll be Everyone's just get out the way. I've got my trolley. The boys each have a trolley. Like, people just need to move out of the way because
Yeah.
we're a fiasco. You know, we are we're a show. And I get people coming up saying, "You're doing such a great job."
Mhm.
I'm this far off high fives. Like, people are so supportive, and you're like, "Hey, I'm just having a crack here." Like, and it's chaos, but people are so supportive.
Mhm.
Flip that, and when Carly's out, respectfully, it's the stereotype of a 50 to 60-year-old Caucasian male who
Mhm.
gives her the comments of the negative, biting little. It's unbelievable. So when you said that about gender, it's a completely different topic, but it's so fascinating that when you have the same environment with a mum, as an example, there's this part where everyone has to have their say. And as a
Mhm.
dad, I get out there and I'm celebrating. It's actually a really remarkable thing,
Yeah.
and I'll be really interested to see how that evolves in the next 10 years because we all know society trends are changing, and at the moment, I think people believe I'm just over delivering. I think I'm just doing my job as a dad, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I experienced that a lot too. From my point of view. Whereas, people wouldn't say anything at all. But if you flip who's taking the kids out, there's definitely comments. I remember my ex husband and I were dating. We were living together and we were food shopping. And he was helping put the food on the conveyor belt for us to pay. And it was Woolworths. And this lady behind us looks at him and she goes, "Aren't you amazing?" And he was kind of looking, but goes, I'm sorry. And she's like, "Look how you're helping her." And there I was, like, standing going, he's literally come along because he wanted me to get a particular type of chicken. And I said to him, just in a throwaway comment, "If you want that chicken, you can get in the car and come with me and help me." But it was so interesting because and she didn't even acknowledge me, while I was standing at the checkout. And this was a long time ago. So I reckon this was like 2006, 2007, showing my age now. But, and yeah, we'd been living together for a few years, but she was so incredibly praiseful of him for literally putting food out of the trolley onto the conveyor belt. It was crazy, crazy.
It is
So it
crazy.
hasn't evolved much, it appears, from then to now. So hopefully we'll do much
Oh.
better in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I think actually completely. And the purpose of me actually raising that story, I think, out of all this chat about what I'm doing and doing, to be honest, it is my wife Carly. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm flexible and I'm all in. And Brent, thank you for your kind words before. Like, it means the world. But I'm the one. We joke about me going to work is semi a holiday, and I think, as hard as our work can be, it's a holiday in comparison. So my wife is a superstar, and to be honest, I get most of these.
Aw.
I guess we're brainstorming together, but just acknowledging that she's a superstar.
Big shout
we
out to
could
absolute superhero.
we could talk for hours on end. We just scratch the surface on gender stereotypes there too, which is a whole other episode. Um,
We need to have you back,
what
Aaron. That's what it is.
I think
We've got
so,
to.
mate. Last question: what do you hope when the boys are a bit older and perhaps like young adults? What do you hope they learn or they remember about you having your own business at the time? Like whether it's like what you've taught them, but how do you hope they see it in the future?
Yeah, I I took two of our boys up to my parents, a couple of hours north, just to get away and obviously give my wife and the other children a bit of calmness. But my dad was talking to my children, and obviously his grandchildren, saying, when you grow up, do something you love. Like, if you're doing something just for the money, you're going to bring, and if you hate it, you're going to bring that negativity home. do something you love, and then the way I interpret it is then figure out the rest later. You obviously need to support it and make money, but do something you love. And if you're not doing something you love, my theory is pause and reflect, and adjust. I hope the boys pursue what they want to do, and
Mhm.
then they're going to redecide, they're going to change, they're going to flip, but just do something they want to do. And I hope that they perceive that we did the best we could. I think we're all going to look back and think of how we're going to improve or do things better, but that we make time for them, that we prioritize time for them. And I think that that'll be the moments that I think of my childhood and those beautiful, shiny core memories that they have in the Inside Out movie, the core memories. Um, that we prioritized them, we did our best. They were still learning, they were still figuring it out, and yes, they made
Mm.
mistakes, but they were doing their best.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on. You've got so much on your plate between a few businesses and franchises and families and making time to get away. Lily and I and the listeners really appreciate it. Have we missed anything? Is there anything you wanted to say or share, or something that you might wanted people to know about you and your crew?
Oh gosh, I'm hoping for a really good thing to say now. I really don't have fun.
You're the spot.
Nothing saved up, but I'm really enjoying the podcast. I'm really looking forward to future episodes. So keep up your great work. I'm really enjoying your work. So thanks for having me on, and yeah, really excited for future podcasts.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us as our first guest. It's very special.
Most
Awesome.
welcome.
Thanks. Well, that's it for episode number 2 of the Small Moments, Big Impact podcast. We'll be back again with another guest soon. If there's somebody that you want on, or you heard Harren and he's really inspired you and you can think of someone, yeah, get in touch, send us a message, and we'll go from there. But until then, look after each other and we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye.